Mic check, mic check.
It was off.
Low
rider. ¿Qué pasó, guys? ¿Cómo están? Good, good?
Pleasure to have you here, Mr.
Thank
Rodriguez.
you for having me here.
Yeah.
Who's smoking?
Guys, no smoking in the building, please.
Madre. And why didn't you give me any? That's why I'm really mad.
Yeah, guys, who is smoking? Because come share. Mr. Rodriguez, how are you today?
I'm well. Thank you guys for having me here today. I've been wanting to come because I know I've known of this Comic-Con for a while. It's been going on for a while, right?
For a while, like 11, 10 years now.
Yeah, for a long while.
Yeah.
And so I've been wanting to come to it, but it never happened because I was busy or they had something else and that blah 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 blah. But this year it worked out because as most of you know, I'm from Elsa. I'm from Elsa, Texas. I'm like 25 miles to the east of this place. And I went to Pan Am back when it was Pan Am, and so I'm really a homebred boy. And I've never had the opportunity to be able to come and talk to the general public. I come and talk to kids all the time because a lot of the people that I went to school with in college have become teachers. So, I grew up really poor, a migrant farm worker, and education was my way out of that life. And so I go back and talk to schools all the time and try and encourage students to do well in school. To improve their life.
Yeah, well, let me just say it's an honor to have you here. I mean, like I said, to welcome you home. Like, ladies and gentlemen, isn't it great to have him here? Come on, make some noise. It's so good, and it's so good to see someone that was able to leave the nest.
Right.
Not necessarily escape, like to leave the nest and to be able to come back and like show some respect towards it. Like, how do you feel? Like, you take off, do work, and you come back, and how is it each time coming back home?
Well, I feel it's my responsibility to come back home. I would not have made it. It took a great deal of effort and a lot of work from me. However, if I hadn't had the help of others from down here, teachers, parents, brothers, sisters, cousins, family members, that sort of stuff, friends, I would not have had the energy to have been able to accomplish the things I did. And then specifically for me, I had two amazing teachers, one in high school, a lot of amazing teachers, but two in particularly, one in high school and one in college, Ken Smither in high school and Marion Manta in college, that without their help, I would not have become what I became. It would not have happened, guys. It would not have happened. I wanted to be something, and these are the people that I went to, and I said, this is what I want to be, and they said, this is what you need to do. This and this and this and this and this and this and this is. And I did it, and it worked out well. Fortunately, it worked out well. But I didn't realize what it was that I could do, because when you're growing up, you really don't. You're surrounded by your own environment. You might have dreams of greatness or something like that, but you don't have a plan to try and get to that place, right? And so with these two mentors, I found the people that would give me that roadmap to get to that place. And so I feel indebted to them. There is no way that I can repay them for what they did to me, right? For me. They changed my whole life, right? And now I pinch myself. Because I look back at the stuff that I've done and I go, wow, was that really me? With acting with Meryl Streep or acting with Julia Roberts or acting with George Clooney or acting with Steven Soderbergh? It's an amazing, amazing thing. And those things I never would have accomplished without their help. And so I feel now indebted to them to come back and pay it forward. Mm-hmm. Pay it forward.
And you mentioned these like mentors. You mentioned two people in particular. Who were those people to you?
Yeah. So Ken Smither was my English teacher in high school, but he was also the UIL one-act play guy, the theater guy, right? And he's the very first one that convinced me to be in a play, a musical, and I didn't even sing. But somehow he convinced me. And then Marion Manta was a professor at back then it was Pan American University. She's the one who I said, I think I want to be an actor. What do I need to do? And she said, you need to take dance class, you need to take voice class, you need to take diction class, you need to take erudition class, you need to take this blah, 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 blah. You need to take class on script, you need to take a class on character, you need to learn how to act, you need to lose your accent. You need to remember your accent because there will be times when you will use that accent, but most of the time you need to forget that accent because you're going to be playing other characters that talk in different ways. So she gave me that roadmap. And even more so than that, when I left, she gave me $1,000 to go to LA. I had already saved $2,000, but she gave me another $1,000 to go to LA. To have a professor give you $1,000 to go pursue your dream is an amazing thing. But there are individuals who will do that for you. What it takes, though, what it takes for somebody like that to reach out to you and do that is they have to see that what the journey that you are on is pure to your heart. It's really what you want to do, and you're truly, truly dedicated to the thing that you want to do, right? And I believe she saw that in me, and that's why she did. And then later on, 4 or 5 years later, when I was making enough money to pay her back, she's the one that said, and this was a long time ago, 35 years ago, she said, you don't have to pay me back. As a matter of fact, I don't want the money. I don't need the money. But pay it forward. Do something for somebody else. And that's one of the reasons I'm here. I'm trying to pay it forward and trying to show people that it doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't. It does not matter where you're from. A star shines anywhere. Look up in the sky. There's stars everywhere. Everywhere. That doesn't matter. What matters is your dedication to what it is that you do and how hard you work. You have to be lucky. You have to be lucky. No matter how talented you are, you have to be lucky. You have to be at the right place at the right time. You don't need to know anybody. It's not about, yes, it is about networking, but it's not about unless you know someone, you're not going to get a job. No, that's not how it works. You have to be good enough. And really, if you're using that as an excuse, that's what you're doing. You're using that as an excuse for you not to work as hard as you need to make the grade, to get to that place. Because if you want to be an actor or an actress or a writer or a singer or a songwriter and you go to the big town, you better be sure that what you do is really, really, really good. You're going up against the best people in the whole wide world. If you're going to be an actor and you go to LA, everybody's there. And you're going to have people there with connections that actually will get a job because of who they know. Or somebody who went to Yale or Juilliard's. Or somebody who grew up with a dad as a director. And so they've been exposed to the acting world since they were 2 years old. So they know the industry. Or somebody who just lives there and doesn't have the expense of having to pay for an apartment and move, blah, 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 blah. So you have to make sure that your work is as solid as you can. Because there will be other problems. You'll get homesick. You'll have to pay bills. There'll be other problems. The thing you should not be worried about is, how good am I? No, you should already have the confidence that you're very, very, very good. And if you don't, stay where you are until you develop that confidence. And the only way you develop that confidence is by doing what you do over and over and over and over and over. I have a lot of young kids that come up to me and say, I want to be an actor. Or 20-year-olds that say, I want to be an actor. And I say, what have you done? And they say, nothing. Well, you probably don't want to be an actor. You didn't act in the church play? You didn't act in the high school play? You don't sing in the shower? You don't do anything that tells me you want to be an actor, but you're saying, I want to be an actor. That's yourself telling you you don't really want to be an actor. Go find the thing you can dedicate yourself to, and then you can become good at it because you love to do it and you spend so much time at it, and that's what makes you good, spending time at what you do. So, anyway, I talk a lot. You guys noticed? But that's what I get paid for, Mensos. That's what I get paid for.
Right, no, that's perfectly my speed. You know, if it wouldn't be you, it'd be me, and they don't want to hear me. But you mentioned a lot about how it's the work you put into it. Maybe you can give us a little more insight, like what those first couple of years and what those $3,000 you went to LA helped you make, and then how you built that up to what you consider to be your first big break.
Okay, so the important thing is to have a plan. You have to have a plan. Again, you can't just say, I want to do this, and not actually be doing it, not have a plan, not have any idea how to do it, right? So I had a plan. I'm going to take these $3,000. I'm going to move to LA. The very first thing I'm going to do when I get to LA is I'm going to get a job. Not an acting job, just a job to pay bills. When I got to LA, I got 4 jobs. I was working at a video store, I was working as a carpenter, I was working as a telemarketer, and I was working as a courier. So I was working about 17 hours a day between all the jobs that I was working, right, to pay bills. Because the first thing I wanted to do is to tell myself, I need to be in Los Angeles. I need to make that my place. And what I told myself is, I'm going to give myself till I'm 35 years old. I'm going to try this I'm going to give it a try till I'm 35. And if at 35, I'll reassess. And if it doesn't look like I'm doing it well, I'm going to go do something else, right? But if it looks like I'm doing well, I'm going to keep doing it, right? So I got these 4 jobs to pay all my bills. I had this plan. I got these 4 jobs to pay my bills. Okay, I got the 4 jobs. I'm paying my bills. Okay, next step, I got to find an agent. So then I went to go find an agent, right? And every single agent will tell you, are you union? Do you have your card? Which means, are you union? And you say, no. How could you? You just got here. And they go, okay, well, I can't represent you unless you're union. How do you become union? You get a job. How do you get a job? You get an agent. How do you get an agent? You get a card. How do you get a card? You get a job. How do you get a job? You get an agent. Wait. So how do you get it's a catch-22. It's this circle. And so I'm thinking what you're thinking. Well, how the hell do you get a card then? If you can't do this and this and this and that. There are specific ways you can be an extra on 3 things, or you can do what happened to me. I went to the agent. They said, I don't have a card. She goes, oh, fine. But I had this old 3/4 VHS that I had done in college of work I'd done in college. And I'm walking out of the agent that said, I'll talk to you for 5 minutes. I can't sign you, but let's talk. I'm walking out. I noticed she has the big thing, video recorder. And I said, Terry, I see you got that. I got 3 minutes of stuff I've done in college. Will you look at it? And do me a favor. If I suck, just tell me. Just end it right here. Just say, man, you're so bad, just go home. And I'll go home. And she laughed. She goes, okay, I'll do that for you. The very next morning, she called me. And she goes, you know what? I cannot sign you. But I'll send you out on a couple of things. 2, 3 things. See how you do. Just to wet your feet and things. The first thing she sent me out on, I got. A movie called Salsa, the Motion Pictures. I ended up working 10 weeks on it, right? So, of course, immediately she calls me and she goes, yeah, I'm going to sign you now, right? And so that job got me my union card, right? And then after that, my idea was to go to L.A. My idea was to go to New York and do theater. But a friend of mine and another agent told me there's more work in L.A. So I went to L.A. And after that first big job, I quit all my 4 jobs. I put all that money in the bank, and I went to go find a theater company to join. And I found a theater company, Latino theater company in Los Angeles. Most major Latino work that's come out of L.A. has gone through these guys. And I was with them for about 10 years. And at the same time, I was getting TV roles in a movie every now and then. I did my first sitcom, which was my very first TV, professional TV, was Golden Girls. I did a Golden Girls. That's how old I am, guys. I did a Golden Girls. And then I did Falcon Crest, and I did Mad About You, ER, and X-Files, and just more and more and more and more. And then about 1991, I auditioned for a gang movie called Blood In, Blood Out. Yeah, and I got that in 92, shot it in 93. And then more work, Aaron Brockovich, more stuff. And then 2002 was George Lopez. 2002, yeah. From 2002 to 2007, we did 120 shows. And then we're syndicated in 2007 as well. So first Latino show ever to be syndicated, first Latino show ever to have 100 shows, first Latino show, a lot of firsts for the George Lopez Show.
And for those of us that don't know what that means, what does it mean to be syndicated?
So there's 3 different ways you get paid as an actor. You get paid, I do the job. My job is to pick up this Coke bottle, this Coke can. Okay, I pick it up, I get paid, right? But somebody filmed it. So every time they show me picking up this Coke can on TV, I get paid again. Those are called residuals, right? Syndication is different. Residuals are one at a time. Every single one at a time, right? But say I did a job that had more than just one thing. George Lopez, 120 episodes, 120 things. So these are 120 things, all of them right here. I want to buy all of them, not just one. You get them all as a group. That's syndication. Somebody bought all 120 shows of George Lopez, and they're going to get shown. And so that's the third way you get money, through syndication, which means every single time George Lopez plays on TV, I get paid. Not a lot, like 0.01 penny, right? But it's depending on, there's millions and millions and millions of people watching. And so those checks come out to $200 or $300 or whatever the case may be. Yeah, but that's syndication.
And that's awesome. Like you found yourself, or when the script first came across, like your table, the audition, how was that?
It was a blast because, okay, here I am. It's 2002. I've been acting since '88. So that's 14 years. Already been in 14 years. And they say an overnight success in LA usually takes 10 years. That's overnight for LA, right. 10 years. So here I am in this, and now I'm pretty confident, right, that this is going to be my career. I've been working. I've been getting a whole bunch of jobs, and the jobs I'm getting are gang members. The funny gang member, but the gang members nonetheless, right? Or little parts, the waiter or the gas station attendant, that sort of stuff. And my agent sends me the script. And I look at the script and I go, a sitcom, a Latino sitcom with George Lopez. I didn't know George Lopez. I'd seen him on TV, so I knew who he was. A Latino sitcom. Wow, this is great. Never seen it before. So really excited. A Latino sitcom. Great. And then I read it. And I read the part of Ernie. And I go, oh my God. I can do this part. Not only can I do this part, I think I can be really good at this part. I really understand him really, really well, right? So the part of George Lopez Show had three regular men. George, that part's taken. Louis, the little boy, I can't audition for that. And Ernie. So Ernie, who's somewhere around 35 or 45, algo así, right? Every Latino man in Los Angeles and New York auditioned for Ernie that could play this part, auditioned for Ernie. The first time I went 7 times to audition for this project, which is unusual. Usually it's like 3 times. The very first day I went in there was a clipboard with sheets. I counted 300 names on that just one time. They're auditioning the same in New York as well, because they're looking for Ernie. So everybody who could play this part went in for Ernie. And as the auditions kept going and going and going, the talent pool kept getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until the end, there's only 2 of us there. It's me and this other guy. And it's going to be one of us. It's going to be one of us, And I went in for that audition, and coming from theater, and now at this point, it's my 7th audition, and it's about a month and a half. They've taken place, So I've already had the script for a month and a half, actually about 2.5 months, because I had it before that. And in theater, what you do is you go over it over and over and over and over and over and over and over until you start discovering new things and blah, 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 blah. So all my auditions kept getting better and better and better and better and better. And then by the end, man, I was so confident. And it's a big room, and it's not just full, it's overflowing. There's people standing on the side like that. And I come into the room, and I'm going to read with the guy, and he's going to read with me. You ready? I'm ready. And I turn my back like this to them, all right, and then I turn around, and they just burst into laughter, because I had the, so, I come in, you guys ready? All right. All right. Exactly, except it was all of them, right? All of them at the same time, and they just laughed. And I'm like, all right, and I say the line, and he says and they laugh more and more and more and more and more and more, and I'm halfway through, I'm thinking, is my zipper down? Why are they laughing so much? But you keep going, and you're done, and I'm done, all right, I'm done, okay, good, thank you. You guys want to see anything else? No, all right, see you guys later. And gone. And I'm driving home. About 20 minutes later, I get to my car. I'm like, man, that went scary well. I'm thinking to my head, I probably didn't get it. If it went that well, I probably didn't. And as an actor, you rationalize all this stuff for the things that might happen or might not happen. But on the way home, my agent calls me and says, how'd you do? And I said, Harry, man, I think I did really well. I mean, it's the best audition I've ever had. They laughed throughout the whole thing. Maybe I didn't get it. And he goes, no, you got it. We just got the call. You got it. And so I got the part on that, yeah. But it was so exciting to me to actually be a part of this thing that I'd never seen before, you know, for myself anyway. And then working with George is one of the fastest people I've ever worked with. I worked with some good people, man. I work with Jamie Foxx. And Jamie Foxx is really, really good, really fast. But so is George. The biggest problem that I had on George Lopez was not laughing while the scene was going on, right? Because he's doing something dumb or stupid or whatever, and I have to keep a straight face to get through the scene. So that was the hardest thing for me on George Lopez, is just not being part of the audience, you know, actually being part of the people that are playing the parts.
Mm-hmm. And it's amazing to, you know, being an actor myself, and I'm sure a lot of people out there looking to get into like the entertainment or art industry, like it's inspiring to see how someone in our ranks, someone from where we come from, like can do these things and can come back and like share their experience. And like, you know, you said it yourself, like you couldn't believe it. And it strikes you so hard to realize that you accomplished those things. So, you know, on our behalf, if I can speak for everyone here, like, you know, it's inspiring, like what you do, what you did, and what you're doing. But speaking of the audience, is there any questions that we have? Yeah, hand up went up really fast. Quick. You want to stand up loud and proud? Tell us your name, your question.
Hi, my name is Sunny, but today I'm Bubbles. My question is, what is the memorable moment on or off screen of George Lopez that has just like stuck with you?
There's so many. Bubbles, by the way, Bubbles, I love that name. There's so many. You know, I spent 6 years on that show. We did 120 shows. Really, really good stuff. One of the best memories that I have is a series of memories, actually. Because we're a Latino show, we carry 125 people on our crew. The actors and the crew, the light people, the sound people, the makeup people. So there was 125 of us there. And but we had a really, really tight relationship. Really tight relationship. So much so that any celebration, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, any one of those celebrations, we would always do a potluck. So all the crew, somebody would bring beans, somebody would bring, bien rancho, man, somebody would bring beans. I got the fajitas, somebody bring bread, you know, somebody would make the lemonade y todo el jale. And so we got like really, really tight together. So those were the amazing moments. Tragedy, we shared tragedy as well. We had a young woman who was working for us. She's 22 years old, just out of college. She was actually on the U.S. Soccer team, one of the lower levels, not the under 17 or algo así, right? Amazing shape, amazing physical shape. She's out there training for the marathon, and she has a massive heart attack, and she dies. She dies, and Jenna was her name, and everybody knew everybody's name. All 125 of us knew each other because we were really tight, and it just affected everybody hard, really hard. So much so that they brought in counselors and all this other kind of stuff, and we had more than 2 to 3 weeks worth of discussions, and you know, talking about grieving, and some of us were just angry. It's like, how does that happen, man? Somebody at the top physical health who has their whole life ahead of them, and they just, a heart attack, and gone the next day. But I think that those experiences that we went through made us tighter as a cast, and so it made our stuff even more, brought a little more heaviness to it, you know, which in turn made it more enjoyable, because that's how life is. You go around, de repente, boom, something happens. And then you don't see that person forever, for the rest of your life. All you have is the memories of them, you know? And that affects you. So those memories, My favorite episodes on George Lopez were the ones where George was drinking tequila and then he ate the worm and he starts to hallucinate. Like the one where he's hallucinated that we were both gay and we were going to get married. Like that one. Or the one where he's hallucinated that he's Ernie and I'm George. And I got to kiss Angie over and over and over. If you watch that particular episode, you see that I held that kiss a little extra longer. And she was already trying to like push away and stuff like that. So those were my favorite episodes in George Lopez. But seriously, we were so, George and I golf together all the time, and just such a beautiful thing. And the other thing is, it's happening at the same time to all of us, to Constance, to Belita, to myself, to George, even to the kids. That kind of sort of sitcom, for lack of a better word, fame. You're on a show that's good and it's going, and you're going to get syndicated and all this other kind of stuff. It's the first time it happened to any of us, so we were all so appreciative. It's a new world for everybody. We go eat as a cast at the commissary, and we're like, we're all excited. They let the Mexicans in, like they're gonna think we're the waitress guys. That we're gonna, So it was a beautiful time. It's a beautiful time, and that's probably the best memories I have of acting in an ensemble show was probably on the George Lopez Show.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you for the question. Do we have
anybody
more in the
else?
crowd?
Like I said, I talk a lot, so I give like paragraph and a half answers for it.
Any other questions that we
Anybody
have out
else?
there?
Anybody?
Don't be shy. Right here in the
there?
back. Right here, brother.
The second one, did you hear what he said? Because I'm a little deaf.
So the runner-up, like you and who else were the last, like for the role?
Oh, what was the most enjoyable thing other than George Lopez, you mean?
No, like who was the second person that was like the runner-up for the show for Ernie?
Oh, I can't tell you.
The little red laser.
No, porque you guys are going to put it on social media, and then he's like, son of a bitch. I took him to dinner, though.
Dinner's on me.
I know him well. I know him really well. And that's usually the deal we have. There's like 10 of us that we're all auditioning for the same parts over and over. And the deal is, if it's down to 2 of us, whoever gets it, but you owe dinner to the other guy. You owe dinner. A lo menos eso, ¿verdad? Dale un poquito de algo, because you took his job.
Where did y'all go eat after? Where did y'all go to dinner?
He wanted to go to it cost me, man. It cost me. He went to this place. We went to a steak place called Houston's, like the city Houston's. It's like $135 for the smallest steak. Like 6-inch steak for $135. It cost me a lot of money.
That was the
But
deal.
I made a lot of money on that show, so it was all good. It was all good.
If anything, he lowballed it. Any other questions that we have out there, guys? Right here in the front.
Yes, a lot. A lot of the lines. A lot. Because check it out. This is what happened for Frankie. So I went in, and again, a gang member, right? I'm like, gang member? Chinga madre, when am I not going to play a gang member, right? So I go into audition for gang member, and by this point, I've already figured it out. I'm not the tough guy. I'm not the boxer. I'm the funny guy. I'm the comic relief, right? Okay. So again, and there were 2 movies being cast at the same time, Blood In, Blood Out and American Me. Both of those were getting cast at the same time. Because they're basically the same script about the same person, right? And so they brought us all in. And again, at this point, there were about 30 of us, all the guys. And they were auditioning. The people that I auditioned with and that I saw auditioning with were all the guys that were auditioning for the Vatos Locos. Not La Onda, not the prison guys. The Vatos Locos. At the very beginning, the young kids, right? Those who, that's what I was going to be a part of, right? The Vatos Locos, that's right. And so they started pairing people up in groups of 4. You 4, and then you 4, and then you 4, and you 4, and you 4. And the 4 would come out, and the casting person would either go, okay, you guys can all go home, or they would go, you stay, you 3 can go home. And so the person who stayed, yeah, that harsh, just like that. You stay, everybody else, you three go home. And they went through and I would get paired here. And one time I got paired with Ray, and then with other guys, and the other guys left, and I stayed. And one time Ray went over there, and all the other guys that were with Ray left, and he stayed, and those guys, and so forth and so forth and so on, until the very end, there were just 4 of us left: me, Jesse, Ben, and Ray. Damien wasn't there, right? And so there's Taylor Hackford, and there's the 4 of us, and we're all in the same room. And by this time, we're about an hour and a half into the audition. We've all been up there 3 or 4 times. Yeah, we're sweaty a little bit. We're ready to go. And so Taylor goes, the director, Taylor says, I want you to just, you're in the backyard. You're in the backyard. You're hanging out. I want you to improvise, do some stuff, right? And Ben, I tell this story all the time. Ben says he doesn't remember it. But Ben was wearing penny loafers, right? No socks, penny loafers, and it actually had a penny in the penny loafer, right? So I start ragging on him, hitting him hard. I'm like, pinche other penny loafers? What kind of gang member wears penny loafers? Why don't you just wear your bunny slippers, cabrón? Blah, 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 right? And fortunately, he knew what I was doing, and he's coming back at me, right? And went away, and didn't hear for about a month. Didn't hear, and I thought, I didn't get it. But then a month later, I get a call, and they said, yeah, you got it. It's going to be you, Ray, da 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 da. And I later, when I'm on the set, and I'm talking to Taylor, and I said, Taylor, man, I thought I wasn't cast. And he said, no, I knew you. I knew the 4 guys. Remember that audition? I said, yeah. He said, at the end of that audition, I knew it was going to be the 4 of you. I already knew that. So that's why I didn't have to call you back, because I knew it was going to be you. But that was that part. And then, because of that, because of all that, he saw what we were doing when he just let us do, he would do the same thing when we were doing the scenes. The scene in the art gallery when we're supposed to be all the scene where he's getting the tattoo, right? Yeah, there you go. It's the scene where we're at the party, right? And he's going to borrow the GTO and that sort of stuff. A lot of those, and a lot of the lines that you guys remember, like throw it out the pinche window, that's an improv. Your blue eyes are turning caquita brown. That's an improv. That's an improv, you know. So a lot of those lines were improvs. Now, here's the thing. The credit also goes to Taylor, though, because he had the foresight to say, oh, yeah, that line's going to work. Because he could have easily said, no, we did 3 or 4 takes of all scenes. And so there were different ways to cut the scene together. So he could have just not used that scene. Not use those particular lines, right? But he saw that that's how that fit well, and it played really well. And that's what these people do. They're always poking at each other and making fun of each other, right? So he put that stuff in. It was a blast. Again, that was a lot of fun to do. And I met Raymond Cruz, and Ray and I have now been friends for all that time, 35 years. And that's the only movie I've ever done with him. Just that one movie. But he and I, we went golfing last week. We golf every week, which is crazy. Because you know Ray played Tuco, right? Right? That's how he is on the golf course. He plays golf like he's on methamphetamines. He does. He'll yell at the ball. At the ball. I've seen him go up to the ball and go, "You're a loser!" Ray, settle down, brother. You're going to get a heart attack.
Do we have any
Como Adam Sandler? That's right. ¿Qué pasó, Happy?
Here,
Oh, el otro. Where is it? We threw it out the window, carnal. We knew exactly where it landed, so we did. We went and got it because my dad would have kicked my ass if I show up without the shotgun. He didn't even know I took it.
Awesome. Do we have time for a couple more questions before we cut it back? Oh, right here. Yeah, man, go off.
Yes, sir. Ándale. Damn it, I'm asking the same thing. Why isn't there? You want the real answer or the answer that I'm thinking is, okay, so the people who made Blood In, Blood Out, the productions was Buena Vista and there's another credit on there. So Disney, back in 1990, had 5 film divisions. 5. Nobody else had more than 1. But they're big dog. Disney used to control about 60, 70% of the town. They had 5 film divisions. And one of their film divisions was Buena Vista. Buena Vista is the one that made Blood In, Blood Out. So who owns Blood In, Blood Out? Disney. Yes. Do you guys remember what was happening in the early 90s in L.A.? Gang murders, riots, blood, beatings. It was a boiling thing in L.A. There were like 2 gang deaths a night in L.A. It was hard. It was hard. You could hear, even in Good Neighbors, you could hear gunshots all over the place. So when the movie came out, Disney pulled back. Disney didn't drop the money it should have in terms of advertising. Disney didn't, do a big advertising tour with Jesse and Ben and all those guys. They did a little one, but not really. And so they pulled back. And then America Me and Blood In, Blood Out are out at the same time. And at a couple of the places that the movie was shown, there were fights breaking out. And so Disney pulled back even more. It's like, no, we can't have this. And they have never licensed any official blah, blah, blah. Now, Disney would make a lot of money because Blood In, Blood Out stuff sells like you would not believe. Look, people got it on right now, right? And so they're the ones that pull back. And that's the official reason why there is no official Blood In, Blood Out stuff, because we could have dolls, we could have the GTO, we could I make Funkos and stuff like that. I have somebody make them for me. But that's really the reason, because Disney still owns it. And there's been a rumor that there's going to be another movie. I haven't heard. And I would say I don't think so. I don't think so movie. Maybe something else. Maybe I've heard rumors about TV series as well, but I don't know if the rumors, if they're right or not. They're rumors. Yes, sir. I was 23. Yeah. Well, part of what I had to do in terms of preparation to be an actor was I had to kind of, because I'm from the Valle and migrant farm worker, and so I had a very severe accent and all that kind of stuff. So I learned to try and get to what they call neutral language, neutral English. And then in getting to L.A., part of what saved me was, remember I told you I got the film, I put the money in the bank, and then I went and found a theater company to perform with, the Latino theater company. So I was around working with other Latinos. So in my group of 10, 15, I would see these guys once a day or once every other day, right? And that was what saved me from being so homesick that I wanted to come back. That was really finding those, and then finding the friendships I have with Jeff and like with Ray, and we haven't been friends for over 30 years. And that's really important, to have friends that are going through the same thing you're going, so that when something happens to you, you have somebody you can talk with, and you know that they've experienced the same things you've experienced, so you don't feel like you're complaining, right? Because they understand where you're coming from. That's really important, finding the people that you're going to journey together with. Yes, sir. No, that was improvised. Also, Raymond's John Wayne. Hey, old John Wayne, he does a John Wayne thing. That's improvised. Also, his ay, 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 cholo no llores. That's improvised. I'm telling you, all the stuff that you guys remember, I think Popeye's, show me some chon-chon, or give me some chon-chon. I think that was improvised as well. We had a lot of leeway, which again, that's Taylor's responsibility, the director. And that's his foresight and his understanding that this is what I want. This is the energy I want. That kind of stuff. I don't want to tell them don't play. I love what they're coming up with when they're playing, right? So I'm going to let them do what they do. if I don't want it, I'll just not use it over here, right, when I edit it together. But, and I think that's one of the reasons it turned out well. Here's the other thing I want to say about Blood In, Blood Out. Okay, so let me ask you this question. Whose movie do you think Blood In, Blood Out is, in terms of characters? Whose movie do you think Blood In, Blood Out is? Who would you say is the main character in Blood In, Blood Out? Crucito. It's not Miklo. You follow Miklo throughout the whole movie, but it's not his script. It isn't. Why is it not his script? Miklo's one way the whole time. He's one way the whole time. He's young and he's vibrant and stuff, but once he makes the turn, once he goes to jail, he becomes a bad guy, right? And he's bad guy the whole way. And he kept getting badder and badder and badder, right? Meaner and meaner and meaner, right? Jesse's part, Jesse starts out beautiful. He's a young, beautiful artist, getting awards from the city, right? Beautiful. He's going up. He's going up, right? Celebrating. He comes home from the celebration. He's gonna go make love to his beautiful girlfriend and stuff. Gang violence, bad back. Gets addicted to Oxycontin or whatever. He's addicted to heroin, right? Falls from grace, kills his nephew, gets disowned by his family, and then, from the ashes, resurrects, right? Kicks his habit, gets into his painting, changes his mind, and at the end, who's the hope? What's that speech that he does to Ben in the river, in the canal? Chased by hounds. That's the script. That's the script. And that's how you tell whose script it is. Who changes the most? Who goes through this journey? And their actual journey mimics what we in real life go through. There are times we are good, there are times we're bad, and hopefully all of us are moving towards that happy ending, right? It's Jesse's story. And if you watch it again and just pay attention to Jesse's performance, he should have been nominated for an Academy Award for that movie. He should have. Watch. Here's the other one you need to watch, Raymond's part. And just pay attention to this little bit right here. So we shot 2 months out, 2 months, they went to 2 months in San Quentin, and then we shot 2 months again in LA. Ray, at the end of those first 2 months, gets addicted to heroin, right? We're away for 2 months, we come back. In those 2 months, Raymond lost like 35, 40 pounds. And if you see his body when he's supposed to be addicted to heroin, that brother looks like he's addicted to heroin. Like he's been on meth for about 1.5 years. All skinny. You can even see his ribs, and he's like shaking. Oh, man, I need it. He really looks like a freaking heroin addict. It is an amazing performance. Pay attention to that. Damien, yes, his journey is his journey, right? And he does it well.
No,
but Jesse's been an actor for 40 years. Or had been an actor for 20 years by then. And Ray had been an actor for 20 years by then. This is Damien's very first film. His very first film, right? So his choices and his through line, and because his through line is so direct, there's only certain things he's going to play. Whereas opposed to these other guys can have other different ways. And that truly shows some acting chops. Those two individuals are really, really good. And with a little help, that movie should have been, it's dated. Of course it's dated. When you watch it now, you go, oh, yeah. But at the time, man, it was good. It was good. We were unfortunate that Disney was the one that owned us. It would have been a lot more. It did. I mean, 30 years later, we're still talking about it, right?
Yeah.
So,
and let me just say, like, I'm part of the crowd. You know, like, we wouldn't have had it any other way. You know, that even the director himself, like, the four of y'all, like, made it what it was. And I mean, ladies and gentlemen, let's just give him a round of applause. Valente Rodriguez, everybody.
Thank you.
That is unfortunate.